Good morning, Jordan.
Good morning, Zanelle.
Hey, it's good to see you again, and thank you for agreeing to be an interview for the topic of courts and how it actually looks from the perspective of our Gen Zs. You are the up and coming generation. Courts have been here forever, and it's always good to have a good perspective of how we're seen in the lights of the public and an understanding of how your generation actually perceives court and perceives justice. So, if you would introduce yourself and tell everybody a little bit about you, that would be great.
Hello, everyone watching the Zoom or the recording. My name is Jordan Taylor. I am a senior at Detroit Crystal Ray currently right now, and I will be graduating this summer, class of 2021.
Awesome, awesome. So you started your internship in August, September. So you've been with the court since then. You've had an opportunity to see various aspects of the court. You got to see that the court just isn't about, hey, somebody with a robe on telling someone what they're going to do. There's a lot that goes into that. So regarding your tour in the court, what's been some of the interesting things? What were some of the most surprising things you learned about?
I would say something that's been surprising that I learned about the court was the fact that the court actually takes the court cases, they're not just review, I mean, they're not just decided and the decision is made in just one day. Like when they're going through a case, they take time to look through all the evidence, they look for certain trial, I mean, they look for certain jurors and make a really thoughtful decision before they just boom, 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 you're sentenced to a year, boom, 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 you're sentenced to 5 years. They take time, and they also may even take a couple of months after the jury in the trial is set to review the case, make sure they're making the right decision. So I think that was very interesting to learn about.
Okay, so it's not as quick as when you see it on TV. Hey, we got a decision. Now you get X number of years in jail, or hey, you go free and everybody celebrates. It's a little more
Yes.
intricate than that.
Yes.
Absolutely. One of the things that the court really struggles with is making sure people appear for jury service. We send out a summons. We say, hey, we need for you to come in and sit on the jury panel. And oftentimes we don't get the response that we need. So, for someone in your generation, what do you think about jury services, first of all? And then, what are some ideas that we as a society or as a court can look at to improve people's engagement with jury services?
I say I don't know really too much about it. It's because I've never done jury services, but I would think people my age who have been selected and they haven't gone, I would say they're probably either one, they're just lazy, or they're two, they're maybe not informed about it. I think if they're maybe not informed about it, they probably think, oh, it's probably boring, or oh, I don't really want to make a executive decision on somebody else's life when really it may not be so serious as they think it is. So I think maybe they probably just don't know as much about it as they should.
Okay. I know one of the things we look at the court as court leadership that we do have to educate those who are in the public to let them know the importance of jury service. And it may appear that it's a making an executive decision, but oftentimes it's you as the juror getting to look to see what the evidence say and then weighing it out for the jury of the peers, someone who's just like the person or very similar to the person who's being called on trial to look at the evidence and determine, what's right, what's wrong, and to make the final decision about a person's innocence or a person's guilt. So definitely we will continue to look for ways to do that. With our climate right now, social justice seems to be a huge issue. So I'm going to throw out this term, justice for all. Tell me, what do you think about that? How does that resonate with you? How do
Um,
we
I
get there?
I think justice for all is, well, I'll start off by saying I think the way we can get there is it'll be, I think once we're all on one accord and everyone is treated justly and equally as one, then that's when we'll be able to say there's justice for all. And but while I think we're on the right path, I don't think this is just a 1 decade type of thing. I think this will take centuries and generations of people keep trying to reform against the system that we're against to get justice for all. But I think justice for all means that everyone is treated equally, everyone is held accountable to the same standards that they should be. Everyone's held responsibly. I think that's what just what it means.
Oh, okay. Good answer. Good answer. You've met several judges while you've been doing your internship at the court. What's some insights or questions that you would have as far as, being a judge for the Third Circuit Court?
Um, I think one main question I had was like how often do they make a decision in a case, and then like later on, like maybe a week or a couple of days after the case, they decide maybe that wasn't the best decision, or they could have took a couple different routes to get another decision. I wonder, like, do judges have like a change up in the decision, as far as like maybe reviewing after like thinking about it and reviewing it for a couple of days after them, do they have like a change of mind and change of heart about this decision that they made?
Okay. I know that in the systems there's first of all the appeal process. So the judge may think the decision is good, but maybe the plaintiff or the defendant or the prosecutor or the defense don't think so, so they can appeal it. Then you also have the instance where someone can go back before the judge and bring something to the judge's attention. Judge, hey, I want you to reconsider something. There's some provisions in the law for that too. So there are some opportunities that maybe things have changed or maybe things need to be reviewed that can be caught up. One of the biggest things right now that's still in the process is when a lot of, I can't remember the exact number, but juveniles were actually sentenced and tried as adults, and then so the legislation came back and said, "Hey, we really need to take a look at that." We were looking at someone who wasn't 18 and treating them like they had the full mental capacity of somebody who was. So the courts were then told by a higher court, "Hey, take a look at that and see if those things, if though in those cases there should be some resentencing. Is there something else to consider?" And a lot of evidence, came out about the maturity of people's minds and things like that. So those things do happen. Well, Jordan, I'm not going to keep you long. Just sum up maybe in 3 words, one sentence, what do you think about courts? What do you think about your obligation as a citizen? And as far as the justice system after all of this is over?
I would say what I would sum it up as, the court has much, much, much more depth than I thought it did. Like, just watching TV and movies, you would think the court is just it's just a jury, it's just the complainants, it's just the judge. It's very like, I would say it's a very small view of the court. The court is made up of many different departments and many different people, and while you might not know those people all have a key important role in the court as well too. So the court has much depth than you think it would.
Okay, thank you. So our takeaway is definitely that what you see on the movies, what you see on the screen is not necessarily all that there is to court. There's a lot to it. And definitely we want you, as well as those in your generations, to ask the questions and to become involved. And don't forget, if you get a jury summons, please show up. Thank you again, Jordan.
You're welcome.